Perfect. Right. I'm just going to let people come on. Okay, we might kick-start with the lovely Jenny McCarthy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for jumping on firstly, Jenny. And I'm sure a lot of people know your faces. But do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you're doing wedding photography?
Too long.
Oh my God. I'm kind of having a moment because I'm like, oh my God, it's Jenny.
Which is stuff. I am shooting weddings probably about 16 and a half years now at this stage. And the plan, Sinead, was never to be a wedding photographer. I didn't start out going, I want to be a wedding photographer. What happened was, like through the years, I worked in PR and marketing. I worked at 98 FM back in the day, driving those fabulous Jeeps. And I was always into taking photographs, loved taking photographs. And, you know, and I said to somebody in an interview recently, my poor daddy, God rest him, bought this fabulous little camera for my brother's confirmation, and every time he went to use the camera, there was no film in it. It was all gone because I was taking photographs and using up all the film. So I was obviously always into you know, capturing moments from that height, you know. And actually when they got the film developed, they weren't too bad, the pictures. So, you know, I suppose as years went on, I was always kind of taking pictures of different functions I would go to, like family functions and whatnot. And then I start concentrating after, like, I had Matthew's 21. After I had Matthew, I was really into it, you know. And I used to borrow a camera off a friend of mine, and she hadn't a clue how to use this fabulous camera that she had. It was constantly on automatic. And I used to just play around with the settings and kind of, you know, make the camera work to its potential and get fabulous photographs. So I started charging then. And I loved portraits. I loved bringing out the person's personality in a photograph. I just think that that's what a photograph should be about.
Yeah.
And then Martin's sister was getting married a good few years ago now, and she said to me, would you take the photos? And I said to her, you must be joking. Absolutely no way, you know, because, you know, for me, that's just so much pressure at the time. Anyhow, I ended up, she had a very small, low-key family wedding. And I said to her, look, I tell you what, I'll do it if you let me sort of just do it my way, and I'll get all your family photographs. But I did. And I'll never forget kind of, you know, the reaction that I got from her after she saw her photographs. They were just like bowled away. And that's kind of how I got into the wedding industry. And I started to, you know, photograph the odd wedding here and there for people I knew. And the rest is history, like.
Exactly. That's amazing. But I know I watched your Instagram live with Chevelle as well, and like I feel like not only are you an amazing photographer, but you've had, because of so much experience you've done with weddings and stuff like that, you've seen everything. Like there isn't anything you haven't seen, whereas if it's a disaster or not, you've seen it all when it comes to weddings. But yeah, we'll start with a few like easy enough questions, maybe for people, and you can use the chat box there as well, anyone that is in. Sorry, I'm just admitting people as well as I go. But one that came up there is just like meeting your photographer beforehand, and what's your thoughts on that once you have booked your photographer?
Yeah, well, I think just even to go before you book your photographer, I think that the two things that are really important, one is, do you like the style? So when I say that to people, they're like, the style, there's so many different styles out there. You know, you'll get like a classic posed photographer who poses everything within an inch of its life. Yeah. So that may not be for you. You know, then you could book a documentary photographer who just documents the day as they see it, and they may not do any of the family photographs, and you get really raw footage, which you mightn't like stains on dresses and that kind of stuff. And then you'll get somebody who's kind of quite reportage, and they capture as they go, but they get a little bit of the family stuff in as well. So that seems to be the style that people like. But then their style could be like airy and bright, and then like Peter Carville, he's got a very similar style to me, airy and bright and really fresh. And then other photographers might have a very dark kind of filter on a lot of their photos. So it really depends on what you like. And when you find a style that you like, contact the photographer, and you know, because you have to have a rapport. This is the supplier that you're going to be with the longest on the day, and they're the one who really kind of dictate how the day goes, to be honest. And I've heard so many nightmares of photographers who have a great style but awful personalities and quite bossy and all the rest of it. So you really have to have a connect. So they're the two things. So I absolutely recommend that you go meet your photographer. 100%.
Brilliant. So say for the morning of the wedding, it's probably all go, it's a bit mental, and you are to the timekeeper. What would you recommend for people to be organized, or what else can they do to just make sure that the morning flows okay and doesn't go too?
Have you got 5 hours for this? Well, I think, you know, it goes without saying, organization is key to having a great day, and timekeeping is the one simple tip that I can give brides on the morning of their wedding. Because if you were running late for the church, if you're 30 minutes late walking up that aisle, I've said this like 10 years ago, you're 30 minutes away from your drinks reception, because they're still going to ring that bell at the drinks reception later on at the same time. They're not going to give you another half an hour because you were half an hour late this morning. So what I always give my couples is a time schedule. So when I sit down, I would always sit down with them 2 weeks in before the wedding in my studio, and we go through the logistics of the day from the time I arrive to the time I leave them, and everything that's going to happen in between. So I would sort of say, this is what time you're getting married at, so let's work back. I want everybody in the house dressed for this time, and then I want us to start our wedding dress ceremony at this time. So you know, and wedding dress ceremony, by the way, Sinead, and you're getting married, and I say you're so excited. Your wedding dress ceremony, girls, you know, when you think about your wedding dress, this is the most important dress you're ever going to wear in your life. So there's not a possibility you should be jumping into that in a panic and giving yourself 10 minutes. You need to give yourself a good 20 minutes, because when you think about all the elements, Sinead, you know, the foundation underwear, the gorgeous foundation underwear that you don't want anyone to see, that has to go on first. You know, then your dress has to go on, you know, your earrings, your perfume, your veil, your shoes, all of that. You need to enjoy that moment and not be panicked as you're running late for the church, you know? So what I would say is, have your time schedule. Can you all still see me? I've lost myself on the thing.
No,
here.
You're all good. You're back again. Don't worry.
But of course, you have to be able to see me, you know. So if you have a good time schedule for the morning of the wedding, and you time everything. Now, your makeup and hair people will do that for you as well. But also have in your mind, this is what time I want to be in my dress for. Because remember, your photographer also wants to get some gorgeous photographs of you when you're in your dress. And he also wants to go to the ceremony, or he or she wants to go to the ceremony to take photographs of your partner, you know, because it's their day too. I swear. Do you find, Sinead, when you're talking about your wedding, you go, my wedding?
It's all about me, really. Like, Eamon's just somewhere back there.
Martin used to say to me the whole time, oh yeah, are you getting married? Are you? Yeah, okay.
Terrible, like, but God loves them. And they've actually been through a tough time as well, the lads, you know, for all this uncertainty. Maybe we forget.
Listen to you guys.
That's it. Their head is wrecked. That's brilliant. So another question, same height couples, or maybe a bride who's a little bit taller than the groom, or just a little too for that. Look, I'm sure you have that covered anyway.
Listen, I mean, I had this issue myself, because Martin and I are quite similar in height, and he's not a bit insecure, Martin, at all, but he said to me, I'd hate you to be kind of towering over me as well on the day, because that's not realistic. You're not taller than me. And I didn't want to be taller than him, but I also wanted to be really comfortable as well in what I was wearing. So I decided to go for a pair of shoes with a small enough heel, but I was still probably about an inch taller than him. So here's the tip. So if you're standing, your partner should really be on, he has to keep his right arm free, okay? So he has you on his left-hand side. So if you are taller than him, and most dresses are quite long anyhow, most wedding dresses are quite long. If you take like a half a step back, so even if I do it to the camera there, if I just move back, I'm actually reducing my height, you know? And like, they're simple tips. And, you know, like, I never overcomplicate posing, because if you overcomplicate posing, you're going to lose the expression, and you don't want to do that.
You feel a bit awkward then as well.
So a half a step back, and you'd never know, you know?
Very good, lovely. And then that brings us on to kind of, should brides practice posing? But I mean,
okay, 3 tips, girls. No, you don't have to practice posing. I'm going to use my phone now, pretending it's my bouquet, right? If you bring your bouquet down to your belly button area, okay, that's going to, I suppose, naturally keep your arms away from your body. You'll often see girls, you know, with their hands on their hips. I'm not a fan of that. I think it's just overposed. If you have a clutch bag and you're out, just kind of keep it down to your side. It'll naturally keep your arm away from your body as well. But your bouquet is a great prop. So you keep it down at your belly button and keep your back straight, and it just gives you a lovely posture. And always turn slightly off camera. Look, if I turn slightly off and then look back at the camera, it's just going to give you a lovely slimmed down look. And there are the tips. Bouquet down to the belly button, back straight, and just slightly off camera, and you're sucking diesel.
Just like that. But I think that's, and automatically when your shoulders drop, you do feel a little bit more comfortable anyway. Perfect. Okay. And then just the morning of the wedding, kind of, you were saying briefly there about a good 20 minutes in your dress. So how long should you set aside then for your pictures, kind of in the house?
I mean, half an hour is lovely. I mean, I know that's quite generous, but if you're on time, there's no reason why you can't have at least 20 minutes, because the thing is, here's the other factor, Daddy's first shot looking on his little girl in her dress for the first time. I mean, that is essential that photograph is taken, because it's priceless. You'll never get that moment back. And that needs to be taken. And then, you could have some tears. I have tears every time when I take that shot. I even cry. Poor daddies. Now, my poor daddy wasn't there at my wedding because he passed away when we were all quite young. So he's not always there. But if daddy's there, that's an essential shot. So that has to be taken. And after that's taken, then, the photographers definitely going to get those beautiful portraits when your makeup is at its freshest and your hair is at its freshest. That's going to be the freshest it will be all day. So like at least 20 minutes, and if you don't allow that time, you're going to miss it. You don't want to miss it.
If you do a little timetable of the morning and try and maybe keep to that as well, it might help.
Yeah, send me a message, girls, and I'll send you the timetable. I have it on a PDF. I'm going to be swamped now.
Do you travel to the west of Ireland for weddings, i.e. Sligo or?
Yeah, so I suppose it depends on what I have the day before and what I have the day after. I'm very lucky, Sinead, I'm very busy. So it just depends on those factors. And like, say, for example, it was a July wedding ordinarily, and I was doing speeches and first dance, because that's extra coverage, by the way. Not all photographers stay for that. You can hire them out for the extra coverage. You have to give them a bit of notice about it. But if I'm up in Paris Court and I shoot up there quite a lot, and I'm in Sligo the next day, that's not, I mean, I did have a bride, I remember a couple of years ago, and she was getting married in Donegal in Killybegs. And she rang, and I was doing a wedding the day before, and I remember Noel, this guy I know up in Donegal, rang me and said, Jenny, she really wants you. And I said, but sure, I'm up in Cunningham. Cunningham. No, yes.
No. From Donegal. He's beside yes, I know.
So basically, this wedding was actually Seamus Coleman. He's a footballer. And I didn't know any of that, but that doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter who it is, But Rachel, his wife, they're just, and I've kept in touch with them to this day. They're just gorgeous. But anyhow, I said, no, sure, I'm in Dalkey the night before till probably 11 o'clock. Donegal. I said, Killybegs. Jesus, that's a 4-hour drive. So anyway, they wanted to get a car and all the rest of it. So Martin, my hubby, said, you know what, you have to do that. That's Seamus Coleman.
Totally.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all about the driving, Sinead. So I do weddings over in Sligo when I don't have something the day after,
Absolutely. Someone just asked there your contact info, but I'll be sharing all the Instagram pages again here afterwards. But it's Jenny McCarthy, isn't it? On Instagram.
Jenny McCarthy 8. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah. Okay. Most outrageous moments in your career.
Ooh, I have to tell a story now. Oh, listen, there's loads. You can imagine all the stuff that I've seen over the years. One of the ones I suppose that would stand out for me is, and I would always say, don't let the small things bother you. If something small happens on a wedding day, let it go. Don't make a big issue, because if you make a big issue, everyone's going to know about it, right? Just let it go and move on and enjoy. But I had this particular bride, and I'm going to be honest, she was full on. Probably shouldn't have taken that wedding on, but anyhow, there were lots of different things during the day, small little things that were just, I was exhausted by the end of the day. But anyway, the first dance came along, and it was the wrong song. So instead of just going with it, what can you do? She stormed off the dance floor, bawling, hysterical crying. ruined her makeup, that she'd hired a makeup just to reapply for the first dance, and like left for 40 minutes, you know. And I just thought, why? You're never going to get this back. So I thought that was quite outrageous and very childish.
And you'd be just embarrassed for yourself carrying on like that.
So I suppose that was outrageous, but there's loads of things that happen, Sinead, you know, like not very often, but I've had a wedding dress that burst open just before the bride walked up the aisle. She was getting out of the car, and it was a nylon zip, and it burst open. So you know what happens when your zip bursts open, like there's a hole like this big. So like I said, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't ruin your makeup. So I always have, like, I call it my bag of tricks in my camera bag, and I have another case in my boot for things that can happen that sometimes do. And I just sewed it up. Now I'm not very good at sewing, but I sewed it up, and the veil covered and it was fine. So can you imagine that happening just before you walk up the aisle?
That's very well. Okay, and then kind of standout moments in your career, or you know, biggest, I don't know, whatever it was, or
you know, it's so funny because I don't just do weddings, I photograph babies, and I also do a lot of commercial work. So I do a lot of TV shows like Dancing with the Stars and all those, and I've done those for years, all those shows for TV3 or Virgin Media now, and RTE. And I suppose, and I just said to you, like, it doesn't matter to me who I'm photographing, they're people. And always remember that, you know, when you see a celebrity on the street, that person, it's a person, and that just happens to be the job. And that's the way I look at it, you know. But I remember at the time TV3 were making a show, and Gay Byrne was the host, and they weren't allowed to have access to Gay Byrne because he was so affiliated with RTE. But he was head of the Road Safety Authority, so they were allowed to have him. And they asked me could they borrow my studio to make the show, and I was like, Gay Byrne. Hyperventilating. I was like, absolutely. And I was thinking, I wonder would I get to see him when he's there. And I think because I grew up with my parents watching the Late Late Show, and Gay Byrne was in our sitting room every Friday or Saturday night whenever he was on, I just couldn't believe this man. If my dad could see that Gay Byrne wants to lend to my studio. So I got to photograph him, and I couldn't speak to him. I couldn't speak. And I rang Martin afterwards, and he was just a person, you know, he was so lovely.
Always came across as a real gentleman, actually.
So I even get goosebumps. So that photograph is hanging very proudly on my wall in my studio to this day. I love it. Yeah.
Jenny, thank you so much. It was
listen, I can talk for Ireland. Sorry, no.
Couldn't we? My God, we could keep going. There's so much. But no, I really appreciate it, and it's great to get those extra tips.
And thank you so much for having me, Sinead.
Not at all. And I will share your details as well afterwards again. And yeah, definitely follow Jenny. And I was looking at the baby pics last night.
I know. I miss my babies.
But thank you so much. And we will definitely be chatting again soon, for sure.
Thanks, Sinead.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Okie dokie. We have next. Who have we? Oh, the lovely Charlene Flanagan. Okay, let me see.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm very excited.
I know, this is fab, isn't it? Such a nice treat on Saturday.
That was so interesting. Like, I'm sitting here, like, literally taking in all the details. You'd swear I was getting married. Like, you just get so sucked into it all. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and it's just a really nice distraction, I think, with everything as well happening at the minute. So I think it's so nice.
I want to get married again. I didn't have to get married at all when you hear all of these things. Like, I'm married nearly 5 years now, and oh my God, like, the difference in the wedding industry in 5 years is crazy. Like, I probably would definitely be a bridezilla right now if I was getting married. Yeah, I would want everything. Like, I would literally be like, I want the whole works.
I know, and it's
and that wasn't what I was like at all for my own wedding day. I was the most chilled out person on my wedding day, honestly.
I'd say you were. Yeah. And how long ago was it, Charlene? 5 years, or is it?
It'll be 5 years this June. Yeah.
Okay, fab. And where did you get married?
In Enniscrone, where I'm from. So Enniscrone, County Sligo, and we got married in Eastgate, beautiful down by the seafront, and then we got married in the Diamond Coast, which is overlooking like the Links Golf Course and the beach in Enniscrone. So it was such a it's on my doorstep. It's my hometown. So it was lovely to keep it all really local.
I know. And then were you doing the makeup then, Charlene, or when did you start?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I actually did my own makeup for my own wedding day. So yeah, I have been doing makeup now for over 8 years, and I suppose a specialist in bridal when I knew, like, it's hard to know when you become a specialist in bridal because I was always tipping away doing a small bit of bridal anyway. But when I kind of went full hog and bridal was the only work really that I was taking on was probably about maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
So I'd say the year before I got married myself, I was just solely focusing on doing bridal work every Friday and Saturday, and then even during the summer, Sundays and midweek weddings. That was primarily like what I was doing all of the time. So I always knew though, from the first bridal party I ever did, and I know it sounds very cliche, but genuinely from the very first time I stood and I just felt that atmosphere, I just felt like my personality really suited and kind of fitted in with that sort of atmosphere. I'm a real people person. I love to do things really positive, and I love the crack, and just I love anything girly and anything like that. So I just think a wedding morning is literally all of those things all together. So I just absolutely I thrive off it. Like I really do.
And it's so special as well. Like, it's a lovely thing to be part of.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's get stuck into a bit of makeup questions. And I think before we even go to that next step of makeup, skincare prep. So let's chat a little bit about skincare maybe in the build up to the wedding, just from your perspective and your recommendations as well.
Yeah, okay. So the earlier you can get started, the better. But don't panic if you're, 6 weeks or 3 months and you're only starting to think about skincare now. But obviously, the earlier you can book yourself in with a skin expert, a facialist, dermatologist, whatever you might need for your own skin, the earlier you can get booked in, the better. And I'm not saying that you have to budget in or factor in thousands of euro to invest in your skin. That's not what I'm saying at all. If you find the right person who knows you and knows your skin, it's all about consistency. So it's not about booking yourself in for facials every 6 weeks. That will obviously help to a certain extent, but it has to be the everyday. You have to be doing the routine in the morning and in the evening, and then every now and again treating yourself to a nice facial, depending on what your skin concerns are and what it is that you're trying to achieve. Will be dependent on what facial or what treatments you go for in your beauty salon or your skin therapist salon. But definitely they go hand in hand, skincare and makeup. And for me, hydration is probably the most key factor when it comes to, I suppose, the most problems that creep up when it comes to makeup. So I know lots of women, when they come to me for their bridal trial, dehydration is probably the first thing that I will always address. I will always say, your skin is dehydrated. So what this can cause is it can cause fine lines and wrinkles to look a little bit more emphasized. The skin can look a little bit duller, and you have to do a lot more prep work with the skin if the skin isn't fully hydrated before your makeup application. So the better your hydration levels are in the skin, the better the makeup is going to appear, because things like blemishes and redness in the skin, they don't faze me as a makeup artist. They're easily covered on the skin. It's that dehydration is probably one of the biggest pains when it comes to makeup, because like that, makeup starts to look a little bit more cakey, the fine lines and wrinkles are a little bit more emphasized, and nobody wants that. You don't want that look. You want a nice I'm not saying you have to go dewy, but you want a nice hydrated, plumped out skin, and you want that makeup to stand and hold the test of time. And particularly with bridal makeup, a lot of brides, they want that middle of the road. They want that nice medium coverage. They don't want anything too heavy coverage. They don't want anything too light coverage. But what you have to factor in is the more medium and lighter coverage or more natural you go with your skin, the better your skin has to be. The worse condition that your skin is in, you're going to have to go towards a more fuller coverage in order to make sure that it's everything is covered and everything is sorted.
Yeah, and I think yourself, if you're not drinking water or you're tired, like straight away along here, I definitely see it. I know the minute my skin's dehydrated and your makeup definitely just doesn't sit right. Okay, so how to make a bridal trial go smoothly, even if it's virtual, because I know there's a lot of virtual now, and what to bring along or how to describe your makeup style.
Yeah, I love this because I love prepping brides for before their bridal trial, which I think is really, really important, because this is possibly sometimes a woman's first time maybe getting her makeup done professionally. There's a lot of like, if you feel that tightness in your chest, there's a lot of sort of panic, you know, when it comes to like going for your bridal trial. And you're kind of wondering, you know, what do I say? How do I describe it? So the best tips I can give to brides for their bridal trial is actually bring along your makeup bag with you. So bring along like what it is that you use yourself, so that sometimes people might come and they might say, I want something really natural. And then when I see their makeup bag, they have something like Estee Lauder Double Wear as their foundation. Or they might say, I just want like a nice light smoky eye. And you might say, well, do you prefer like pearly pink kind of tones? Do you prefer browns? And they might say, oh, a gold and a brown smoky eye. And when I see their eyeshadow palette, it's actually more like a nice medium to dark smoky eye, you know. So it kind of eliminates the correction process, you know, when it comes to doing the bridal trial, that the way that the words have come across to the makeup artist and how it's translated onto the face, because often, you know, thankfully, like I have it down to a fine art now, you know, that I really get inside my brides' heads when it comes to actually figuring out what exactly it is that they want. But yeah, start with bringing your makeup bag along. And then the second thing that I would do is have a look at your own pictures. Don't be bringing along pictures of like Pinterest and Kim Kardashian or anything like this along. Bring a photograph of you when you felt your very best, maybe a time that you did your own makeup, maybe a time that somebody else did your makeup for you, and show that to the makeup artist and say, this is something that I kind of like, you know, and just go in with a bit of an open mind. You know, you sort of have to know in some senses what it is that you want. But if you do go in with an open mind, just, you know, talk with the makeup artist, ask the questions, you know, and don't be afraid to say that you're not gone on something, because for me, I don't get one bit offended if somebody turns around and says it's not really me. But thankfully I'm at the stage now where literally at every single stage, like I'm talking with the bride saying, do you like to wear blusher? Yes, no. Do you prefer to wear pink blusher? Or do you prefer to wear peach? And I actually show them, you know, I'll show them a palette and be like, which of these actually speaks to you? And I talk them through that every single stage of the way. So if you are doing a virtual consultation with your bridal makeup artist, that's okay too. They should be able to get into your head the exact same way. The only difference is that they're not actually physically doing your makeup, but you should know just from even talking to them that they know what it is. You booked them because obviously they know what they're doing and you know that they're going to do a great job. But yeah, so I would, that's the best tips that I could probably give is, remember, it's about you. People come in and say, what do brides normally wear? And I'm like, but who is the bride? You're the bride, you know. And it's about what you love and what your preferences are. Don't think that you have to be pigeonholed or fit into this bridal kind of makeup look. That, of course, there is like a look, you know, that soft glam, that nice radiant skin, you know, but whatever it is that you prefer to do, look like you. Not only in person but in your photographs as well. So just that's really important.
Brilliant. Top up and makeup bags must-haves, because you know the way sometimes you have your little clutch and your little must-haves for that, or even if your bridesmaids were helping out and carrying a little bag.
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing I'm going to talk about is this little holy grail product that I absolutely adore. And it's the only powder that I stand by 100%. And the reason for it is called Studio Fix Powder by MAC Cosmetics. So it comes like a little compressed powder, and you can get this in like over 50 shades. So there's different undertones and there's different levels of shading, from very, very fair right up to really deep skin. So it's a compressed powder, but it's not a powder. It's actually a powder foundation. So it's extremely hydrating on the skin. It's going to give coverage. It's going to slightly mattify down the skin if you end up getting any shine. It's going to top up the skin beautifully. You just need to make sure that you get the right shade. If you are wearing fake tan for the day of the wedding, you're most likely going to be going down the NC route of MAC. It all just depends. You would literally need to figure out like what your shade would be in the powder. This won't give any flashback in photographs because it actually is skin colored. It's not white like a translucent powder, and it's just going to top up the skin so so beautifully. And then following on from that, this is actually my own brand. This is Ella and Joe. So the 3-in-1 skin mist is another staple for the day of a wedding. So what I would recommend that you do, so this has got a main ingredient in it called hyaluronic acid, and hyaluronic acid is designed to plump out your fine lines and wrinkles. So think of this like your little Botox in a bottle. It'll refresh your skin. It'll just like take away the tight feeling on the skin. If you're topping up with powder throughout the day, it's just going to again give that lovely radiance back into your skin again. And overall, it's just going to refresh and revive your skin, plumping out the fine lines and wrinkles. So I would go in with your little powder, and then I would give yourself a quick little spritz, like it's like 2 or 3 little sprays just across the face. It's not going to affect the makeup or make it run off the skin. If anything, it's going to enhance it.
I used that this morning just after I did my makeup, and it is gorgeous.
Thanks. Yeah, it is. It's just a great little product. It kind of just gives you a little pep in your step again.
And I have one on my desk in work as well for during the day.
Yeah. Well, I have one carried around with me everywhere. Like there's one in every nook and cranny in the house. Another great little top-up product is this Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Coal eye pencil. So it's a nude pencil. So you might actually see it here in my lower waterline. For anybody that maybe had like it goes kind of red around the eye area over tears, or just even is tired. It could be anything, even for the day after. If you're absolutely wrecked, or you're even a slightly little bit hungover and you're coming down in the morning, this is like a concealer for the waterline area of your eye. It's all well and good putting concealer under the eyes, but if your actual waterline is red, you're going to look exhausted. So this is a great little one. It's a great little top-up one for your eye area. And then of course your lippy. So you can either go with a lipstick, you can go with a lip gloss, you can go with any sort of a lip topper. Because when it comes to lipsticks, my 2 favorite brands for bridal lipsticks would be Charlotte Tilbury and MAC. They seem to, because I feel like for bridal lipstick, people want a lipstick that's not only comfortable to wear, but they also want it to stand the test of time. You don't want it smudging all over your new husband. And I feel like MAC and Charlotte Tilbury do a satin-based lipstick range beautifully, and they're amazing, and they both photograph lovely as well.
I love Charlotte Tilbury now. I have to say the lipsticks are my fave.
Yeah. Nice, and the packaging is to die for. Like I
think they're such a lovely gift for people like bridesmaids as well. I think
and if you don't have it in the budget to go down the route of Charlotte Tilbury or MAC for your lipsticks, Sculpted by Amy or So Sue, they both do really, really lovely lipsticks. And again, the packaging is gorgeous on them. Like So Sue, she's on fire and everything. So Sue has lovely like pink sort of metallic, and so does Sculpted by Amy. There's lovely packaging on those too. So they're nice budget-friendly lipsticks to go for.
Deadly. With regards to them having to do their own makeup, so any brides thinking of doing their own makeup, which I think that's definitely a thing now. Absolutely.
So I would say, like, everyone is going to be different. Some women are really good at doing their own makeup. Some women don't even know where to start. So if you're the person that doesn't know where to start, the first thing I would probably tell you to do is book yourself online with a makeup artist that does online, maybe virtual one-to-one lessons. I know that there's a makeup artist in Galway, Sandra Gillen is her name, and she's actually offering virtual one-to-one Zoom lessons. I know at the moment, I'm not sure of anybody else that's doing them, but you can do that one-to-one where it's 1 hour where you actually get to sit down and figure out, like, what exactly it is that you want to go onto your face. If you're the sort of person though that knows sort of what you're at, don't try anything new. Just do what you do. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, just leave it as it is. You might maybe want to invest in 1 or 2 things, like maybe a powder, maybe a setting spray, a new lipstick, whatever it might be. But overall, like, try not to kind of venture too far out. Now, one thing I will say is that if you're not used to wearing fake tan, because this is something that comes up quite a lot in bridal trials, is definitely when you're going to find your wedding makeup foundation, I would be advising you to wear your tan and get shade matched for the tan that you're going to wear on the day of the wedding, because the last thing you want is to be there on the morning of the wedding and your foundation not to match. Like that would just be an absolute nightmare. So I would definitely tell you to go and get matched personally if you can, or seek the advice of a makeup artist who might be able to help you in that department.
Brilliant. And then just going back to the lippies, suggestions for Charlotte Tilbury pink or nudes or MAC. I know Penelope Pink is fab. It's one of my favorite ones.
I think it's lovely. The Pillow Talk range is probably
Yeah.
the most popular, I would say, from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm more of a beige, peachy sort of a gal, so I love JK Magic and I love Bitch Perfect. They'd be my two favorites. When it comes to more of a beigey or a peachy undertone, Pillow Talk or Penelope Pink would probably be the most popular when it comes to the pinky sort of nudes. When it comes to MAC, I would say Faux, FAUX is probably the most popular for MAC. Blankety or Modesty is another really popular one. And then Peach Blossom or what's the other one? Velvet Teddy would be some of the most popular ones. I actually have a highlight on my Instagram, girls, and it's a good bit back now. I did it probably about 2 years ago, and I have a highlight on my top wedding lipsticks. So I'll share that on my stories. So if anybody pops over onto my stories today, it'll be on my stories. So just tap through and then you'll be able to go into it. I have literally covered everything from reds to pinks to corals to plums. So there's something in there for everybody.
They're actually a little bit more reasonable. Am I right in saying that the MAC lippies, they're about 18?
Yeah, they're 18 or 19, and they've actually even started doing minis of their most popular shades, which roughly retail at about 11 or 12 euro, which I think is great if you're doing like a trialing kind of a process. Charlotte Tilbury also is great that if you place an order on her site, I know that she does sampling as well, and you can get these little sachets of samples where you'd only get one use out of it, but it just gives you an idea of the color. So you can request that, I think, if you spend over a certain amount on the Charlotte Tilbury website, and they're all really, really handy things to have in terms of sampling.
Okay, and someone's just asked, will you be doing an Ella and Joe mini for your bag?
I know, and it's so funny because I would consider this to be a mini, but no, it's not in the pipeline. It's not, but you can buy little almost like the disposable, like you can like the little perfumes, like this all screws off and whatever else, and you can buy the ones that have a spray, and you literally could just spritz that in for the day. So no, it's not in the plan to do a mini. We honestly thought that like the 100 ml was mini enough, but that's a really, really good point, so I'll take it on board.
And the hyaluronic serum is absolutely gorgeous as well, just as another pick me up during the week. I love it, and really, really good. Irish skincare range, absolutely fab.
Thank you so much.
Instagram name is Charlene Makeup, I think, on Instagram. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for all that.
Not at all. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing.
If any of the girls have any questions at all, please come over and send me a message. I'd be more than happy to help anybody out at the moment. I also have lots of lovely tutorials on my page at the moment as well. My highlights that if anybody is thinking about doing their own makeup, I even did one just this week for Mother of the Bride. So if you're thinking about doing your mum's makeup, or she's thinking about doing her makeup, there's lots and lots of tutorials over there at the moment that might help people along.
I'm just going to write this in here. If someone could put that in, Charlene Planning and Makeup. One more thing, are you taking bookings for 2022? I think someone asked.
No, I'm closed now for 2021 and 2022. Yeah.
Oh
so God. Yeah, it's I know it's just the last 2 years now have just been crazy. And I suppose now we're at a plateau in a sense that, there's a lot of postponements and a lot of people moving. So I'm trying to just look after my girls that I have, and just trying to make sure that there's availability there in that sense. But if I ever do open up dates, the first place that I'll do it is on my Instagram account. I'll pop the dates up and I'll say that there's ones available, but at the moment, no, there's nothing available. I'm sorry. It seems so mad to say that, like it's crazy, but it's mad. But thank you so much, Sinead, for having me. It was lovely to be able to come back into this space for a few minutes because I miss it. I haven't done a bride's makeup since March. It'll be nearly a year now, March of last year.
It's very hard for makeup artists as well. Like, this is what we're saying in the industry. It is hard, but look, please God, it's going to pick up again and things will get better, especially in the summer.
We will be back, and we will be beautifying everybody again, and we'll be back having the crack and the big fry up. Absolutely, I'm so looking forward to it. Listen, thank you so much, and I will see you soon.
Thank you. Bye. Oh, she's such a douche. Okay, where are we next? Louise and Courtney, hello.
Hi, Sinead.
How are you? So this is Louise and
hi, I'm here as well. Hi guys.
hello. So there's two gorgeous ladies joining us to chat all things wedding music. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, girls, and how long you've been doing it and where you started and when you started?
Sure, and just to say, first of all, thanks so much for having us, and to Jenny and Charlene, it was lovely to hear such uplifting messages. I don't know how we'll follow it. We actually know each other about 20 years, but we've been playing music for about 7, and then about 5 years ago we were being asked to sing and perform at our friends' weddings, really, and that's how we got into it. It was just such it's such a privilege to be the soundtrack to anyone's special day, really. So we've been doing it pretty solidly together for the past 5 or so years, and we're very good friends, so it adds to the product we can provide as well.
Are you the singer and is Courtney? So we have a singer and a
pianist and actually multi-instrumentalist. She can play a lot of things, so that's helpful too. But yeah, so we're a wedding duo.
Okay, and where are you guys based?
We're Leinster, really. We're Dublin, Wicklow, but we do travel.
Okay, you travel all around Ireland.
Yeah, we do. It's a bit like what Jenny was saying. It really just depends on what our schedule is. If we are full up with weddings, we're probably less likely to travel at a farther distance, but you never know. It's very possible too.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we'll get into a couple of questions then. So do you guys sing at the churches and then at the venue afterwards?
Yeah, so what we would do is either ceremony, whether it's civil or it's a church ceremony, and then there's the option of doing the drinks reception as well.
Okay.
So yeah, we do offer a package of both. And yeah.
Brilliant. So someone just said you sang at her bestie's wedding in December and was amazing. Just pass it on. So there you go.
Well, that is a lovely message to receive. Yeah. It's always nice to get that feedback. And I certainly think myself and Courtney were just chatting, these smaller weddings of 25 or whatever they might be. It's so special to be a part of those. So you remember everyone and you really realize just what a product you can provide with music.
For sure, it's part of the special day. So say for people thinking of planning their music and that, so someone's just asking maybe the best exit song in the church, or is there one that really gets the crowd going? Or
so that's a really interesting question. I think the rule of thumb, myself and Courtney would say, it just should be an upbeat song. Really, what it is doesn't matter, but it has to have that kind of punchy starting note so that everyone knows, okay, this is a celebration. But actually what you find is that halfway through the song, the whole of the group have exited the church. So the song, what it is, doesn't matter overly much, just that it's upbeat. But we've definitely found anything that's a love song from the 80s, there's a serious beat behind those. Or we find Stevie Wonder is quite a popular one, Signed, Sealed, Delivered, or Love, these kind of ones. Even you can have instrumentals, like Courtney would sometimes just do it exclusively on the piano, something full of notes.
Okay.
Make my dreams come true, anything like that, as long as it's punchy and it's upbeat and celebrating.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a nice way to market. And then recommendation of songs for the ceremony. But I suppose sometimes as well you need to take into account what the priest will allow. Is that right as well, if it is in a church?
Completely, yeah. So there's 2 things I would say about that. We get it a lot, is people saying, what are popular songs for weddings? And of course, there are really typical ones that will always be staples, Can't Help Falling in Love, Your Song. But we would say to a lot of brides and grooms, it's really, really nice to personalize your ceremony as much as you can. So if you're driving along in the car and you hear a song that's a love song that means something to you, jot it down. You don't know if your musicians could do that. They might be well able, and it just makes it a little bit more special. We do have a lot of song suggestions on our website, just if any brides are kind of looking to compile a list of possibles for themselves. But certainly, Sinead, you're right there with particularly with regard to church ceremonies. some priests are very flexible with it, but a lot will want you to have religious music up until maybe communion. So you just don't know that for sure. So I would check early enough on with your priest when you're meeting with them, just to okay your song list, because we certainly, Courtney will agree, we've had experiences where you arrive at the church and the priest actually didn't know what songs you were going to perform, and it sets it off on a bit of a tense note. But yeah, generally they are so flexible and open, but it's one to check for sure.
Okay, brilliant. So do you guys travel nationwide? So again, we kind of spoke about that at the church. So it depends on where you are the day before, or sorry, previously, where you are the day before or the day after. So it's built around kind of your bookings already.
Yeah, and I suppose just for people to know as well, a lot of musicians, they might have a willingness to travel, but some might add a travel fee and things. So when you're looking for acts and musicians, it's worth just checking their location first, as well, just to see, are there going to be additional costs for you?
Okay, brilliant. We are having a humanist ceremony. I'm hoping to have some pop songs stripped back, bit of Kylie for sure. Do you do anything like that? For sure, anything's possible.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's like I say, you see that really commonly now, that people are really into, you know, taking a pop song that hasn't been heard in a long time and making it, as she said, a little bit stripped back, and just it's more personal, and we're certainly very open to it. Courtney's really talented at arranging all these things. So
I will say Louise has just done a fabulous cover of Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody, and we slowed that down a bit, and I just think Louise, now she's my best friend in the world, but she sings this fantastically, and I'm always biased, but yeah, so good. So any song is definitely possible to be slowed down. Louise is the lyricist in it all, and I'd be more about, you know, arranging the music, but Louise can spot a good song with good lyrics in it. Is so important, because once you slow it down, right, when it's nice and punchy and everything, yeah, you're singing along, but you mightn't realize there's some kind of funny wording in it. So for example, one day we were asked to sing Love Me Like You Do in the church, and you think, love me like you do, God, this will be lovely. But then touch me like you do, touch, which is not really the most appropriate. So Louise can, like, you know, she just edited those lyrics a little bit, changed it back to love, or you know, change the words slightly so that it's still the same song, and hopefully no one notices that we've made it a bit more appropriate.
Yeah, Sylvia just said there the songs from Bridgerton. I definitely think that's a big thing now as well. That music, the background would be absolutely gorgeous.
Oh God, we take that tip, Courtney.
Yeah, the soundtrack is amazing.
Taylor, I think Swift is most of them, isn't she?
And can I ask, Courtney, what other instruments do you play then? You're obviously so talented, both of you, but you are a pianist, and what else do you do?
I'm a violinist as well, so I'm a trad musician and a classical musician, and so I'm classical and trad flute, classical and trad violin, and piano. I'm unfortunately not gifted with a voice, so but I'm such an enthusiast. So yeah, anything I can get my hands on. I have a younger sister who's an uilleann piper with Riverdance, so our whole family would be into the trad side of things. And actually, that's always a possibility too. Like a lot of brides and grooms, you know, if you have this vision of a string quartet, go and get your string quartet. This is your big day. If you wanted an uilleann pipe serenading you down the aisle, go and get that. You know, you won't get it back. You've a lot of things taken off you this year. Splurge on the things. And then, sorry, we should have said as well, also there's people that music just isn't their thing and want just a CD player in the background or something. Absolutely perfect as well. But take that time with your partner to pick the songs. It's really special to,
I think so. And sometimes it can be something that you mightn't even think of till it becomes closer to it, and you do. It is very, very important. Grania from Atlantic Vows just made a good point there that it's important to check with your celebrants for ceremony music as well, because some celebrants won't allow some songs. So it is definitely it's definitely one to look at planning, and I suppose now is a good time when we kind of have a little bit more time in our hands as well, that we can just narrow things down and maybe just tick that off the list as well.
Yeah, and actually, Sinead, I have about 5 top tips, if you wouldn't mind. I'll throw in from the admin side. Okay, so I suppose before we come on here, Louise and I were discussing, there's kind of, I would say, 3 buckets of couples. So there's ones that, like I said, music isn't their thing. They're not really into it. They'd like a bit of background. So they've decided, look, we're going to just get a CD player and our budget is going to go into the food or something else. And I'm absolutely fine. But what I would say is still make sure you think it through. So if you're getting married in, let's say, a hotel, are you inside or outside the hotel?
Okay.
Do you need a power supply to come out to play your speaker? Are you bringing the speaker? Are you going to rock up with a CD and there'll be nowhere there to play it?
Yeah.
Do you have a person designated to press stop and start on that CD? Have you thought of the length of the track so that, you know, everyone's not sitting through a 7-minute piece while you've just lit candles? You know, it's just these kind of things. Think it through.
Yeah.
And then the second bucket, moving from that, will be you might have a family friend to sing. And like, we just think this is so special when it does happen, because it's bringing your family into your ceremony. So again, if they're singing to a backing track, how have you got that? Have you got a power supply? Can you use the speakers in the room that's in there, or should you bring along your own speaker? Do you have a microphone to sing into, or are you going to hire a professional accompanist, maybe a pianist or harpist, a guitarist to accompany your friend? In which case, are they going to bring along things? Just a few things like that. What else did I want to?
Yeah, it's important.
Oh, and then if you're getting a professional, they will do all this. You know, all the things that they'll look after, and all you have to do, put them in contact with your venue, and they can sort of, if you're outside, inside, where the music's going to come from. So I just thought I'd throw that out, because people, you think, oh, music isn't our thing, I don't need to think about it. You just a little bit do, so that it runs nice and smooth on the day.
Yeah, and I think what you were saying as well there about even like extension leads and all those things, if it is in a reception or something like that, that they are important. Let me see if I can get another question here. Someone just said my 2 younger sisters are going to sing a song, and yes, it is very special. It's a lovely way to include people. Let me see. I know I sent some on. I know there's a lot of people asking for suggestions, but you guys are saying that you have some listed on your website, so I think that would be great to go over and have a look.
I think as well, Sinead, it's kind of, we look at ceremonies like mapping them out as well, no more than people do with readings. Like, are there points in your wedding that are going to be that little bit lower? You know, whether if it's a church ceremony, you have lighting of the candles. If it's a civil ceremony, you might have ring warming or hand fasting. There are moments where you might be thinking you need a slower song, or maybe even just an instrumental works lovely. And then, as we said before, the recessional or the exit song, that's a little bit more upbeat. So it's important, if people are looking at their weddings, think of it as maybe peaks and troughs, I suppose, and high energy, low energy, softer, you know. We've some good guides on our website to that as well, what you should be expecting for each point in the ceremony.
Yeah, and is there a certain number of songs or amount of songs you should have? Is there like a guide?
That's a really excellent question. The church ceremony is relatively fixed, because a lot of the songs are dictated by what area of the ceremony it is. Like, you will definitely have a psalm, you will definitely have songs at communion. It levels out at approximately 9. We have it listed out. But civil ceremonies are a little bit different. As a general marker, we would say to brides and grooms about 4 or 5, but that's very rough, because if you have more, we would love it, the 2 of us, but it becomes a bit more like a concert. And you want room for your readings. You want, you know, to think, if you started out with 4, that still leaves your entrance, your exit, and then maybe parts for 1 or 2 more between readings, or that's a good start. But like that, we had a beautiful wedding last year, and there were maybe 8 or 9 songs, but they shortened them right down. So you might have a verse and a chorus, and that works really well, and they really considered it. So yeah, that's a good enough start, I think, to start with 4. And then if you're really saying, God, I still would love this song, I don't want to leave it out, of course it can be brought in. It just might need to be tweaked a little bit, because as Courtney was saying, you don't, if your song is 7 minutes, you don't want to expect your guests to sit through that as well.
Okay, brilliant. And I suppose before we go then, is there any other tips that you could give for the brides here as well? Just again, picking songs or how far in advance they should pick. You know, for you guys, I'm sure you're very busy and with weddings being postponed, but say if someone did get engaged, how far ahead should they be looking at booking music for their ceremony or their drinks reception?
I suppose, you know, we, in terms of knowing what songs they were looking for, we don't really need notification beyond 2 months ahead.
Okay.
Bookings anywhere from, we take bookings up to 18 months in advance of the date.
Okay.
But it really, it's no more than Charlene was saying, you know, if you're booked up, you're booked up. We if we've dates, we're open, and it doesn't matter how close to the date the inquiries come in. But yeah, a top tip, I don't know if you'd agree, Courtney, I think the more personal the ceremony, the better. So if you have those songs that you say, God, we met to that song, or jeepers, that always seems to come on when we're there, or try your musician, see if they'll give it a go, and they'll know fairly quickly if they can or can't do it, you know. By and large, you know, they want the best for your day as well, so they'll try anything. So you know, it's one day, as Courtney was saying, why not try whatever is special to you, and people will try and make it happen.
Brilliant.
Yeah, some people have themes as well to their weddings, I know, and it's nice to bring that in. So we had a couple who had a COVID restricted wedding, but their theme was musicals. So they traveled all over the world together looking at musicals. So we had, I think, 3 songs within the ceremony were based around songs from musicals, and then we had another Disney couple another time, so they wanted Disney songs included, and we just think this is a bit of crack, like that's very fun for us. So
it's so different.
Yeah, so I don't see why not, like try it. And if you know, we are always open to try anything. If a couple come to us and say, look, we were thinking of doing these songs, what do you reckon? We'll have a mess around with it, and we might come back and say, look, it sounds a bit strange. You know, we might, maybe this song from the similar musical or this other Disney song might work a bit better, or else some of them are rockets and they were added to our set list for the rest of life. Some of them are brilliant.
Perfect. Deadly. Guys, thank you so much. That is amazing. And I will share your Instagram as well. It's Louise Courtney Music on Instagram, is that right? And definitely go over and have a look at their website as well and listen to the music. Oh my God, so talented. Like, do you go to Spain? But so amazing. So absolutely check them out. They're just the talent, and I just think music is an amazing part of the day. So definitely they're brilliant, and definitely check them out. So thanks a million.
Thank you
so much.
Thanks
And Sinead, also just a last comment, that I'm also a bride to be, and I have to say, just your energy and positivity the last couple of weeks is incredible, and we just would love to bottle it and take it with us. So thank you for encouraging so many brides to have a great lead up to their wedding.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's really nice to do, and it's a really nice distraction for me, so I'm very happy to help. Thanks so much, ladies. Take care. Bye. So next we have Love Ellie Bridal.
Hello. Hi, Sinead.
Laura, the duo.
The dream team.
I'm so excited for this. How are you?
We are good, thank you. And yeah, we have to say, seconding what Sinead and Courtney have said, yeah, we were just saying how amazing this space and this forum is for brides. Sinead, I mean, it is a real credit to you. Fair play. This is
it's great. It's a lovely distraction, and I think weddings are just so important, and I really hope we can get back on track with them as well. And I think what they're doing now with the petition and everything like that going to government, I think hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be good, you know, hopefully.
We just want to put out there, Sinead, that we are available to come to Spain with you.
Yeah.
To dress you on the morning. Just want to put that out there.
Pretty sure my mother has invited you anyway, because she loves me.
I'll fluff out your train.
Yeah. But like, like, they're my new best pals. They're here. It's fine.
Background, just drinking champagne. No problem.
Oh my God, come on. Can I just say, so I got my dress last summer in Love Ellie, and oh my God, we had the best day. If I could go back, that was the best weekend of my life.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear, Sinead. Thank you for that. Oh, we so enjoyed it. And your mum, oh my gosh, just love the girl.
These ladies are incredible. If you haven't gotten your dress out, you need to go to Love Ellie. Like, all the staff there are just amazing, but the energy when you walk in and just the warmth, and I felt like I knew you years. We're only there like an hour.
You know what? We said the exact same thing, and we were like, God, Sinead and Mary, just two most down to earth ladies we've ever met. You know what I mean? And we had such fun. We had such a giggle in that appointment. Like it was really, really good fun, and we love that. That's what kind of makes it for us as well.
Yeah. So tell us how long Love Ellie is here and how it started, and
a little bit about it. So obviously we are mother and daughter, and I was living in Dublin for about 12 years through college and work. A little bit on me, I did my master's in international business in Smurfit and UCD, and then I was working in the buying department with Dunn Stores pretty much straight after that. So I was on the buying team for Savida for a number of years. So I suppose after that, opening my own boutique and kind of making that next step was a natural progression for me and something I always wanted to do. And that's kind of how Love Ellie was born. And I asked Mum then to come on board with me to create the dream, and she agreed. And then I decided to name the shop after her. So she's Ellen, but a family nickname will be Ellie. So that's how the whole Love Ellie.
And I worked in the salon a few years back for about 13 or 14 years. So
yeah,
I just love all the meeting people and being involved, because like even when I was hairdressing, I was doing hairs and you know,
people person.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you're fabulous together. Like, oh my God, just amazing. And you're based in Cavan. So I can't wait to get back down there when I can. I'm excited. Yes. So we have some questions. Let me see if I can find them.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we had a couple of questions. So you've told us a little bit about yourselves. So I suppose like when you get engaged, like I know we were laughing about this earlier, myself and Jenny. It's like, oh, my wedding and the bride, but like, let's be honest, the wedding dress is a huge part of the wedding. I think anyway. But I know when I got engaged, it was like, oh my God, where do you start? And I had one style in my head that I was so far removed from by the time I went to you guys, as in I went with something completely different. But where do you start when you get engaged?
Yeah, that's like the most popular question. And I think in the age of social media now and Instagram, I mean, there's just so much out there and you're just, you know, there's so many styles and so many different things kind of coming at you that it is very easy to get overwhelmed. So we say, you know, just first of all, kind of relax, kind of take it in your stride a little bit more. And I know, you know, this is going to be a brand new process to anybody who hasn't, you know, been married before. So everybody's in the same boat. Everybody is nervous. And I suppose even no matter who you are, Sinead, you know, even you can attest to that. Everybody is that little bit nervous when they're coming in to try on dresses. So what we, and you know, it is a big deal. You want to feel amazing on the day. So what we recommend to brides who have booked an appointment with us is to maybe just sit down the night before, check out the website, maybe screenshot 4 or 5 dresses that you think, like nothing too serious or no big commitment to them, but something that you think you might want to try on. And it can be a great jumping off point to your appointment. And then after that, kind of put your trust in your style consultant. You know, we'll pull out a couple of wild cards. We'll pull out a couple of different shapes that we think.
Oh, yes, you will.
Yeah, yes, we will.
I know that.
And, you know, just kind of go from there. And the main thing is don't rob yourself of the experience by being too nervous, you know, just relax and kind of go with the flow.
It's so special. It's so lovely. And then, so say someone who's kind of not very confident or feeling a little bit apprehensive about that as well. So I suppose being open-minded, would you agree? Like as well, if you can be quite open-minded to different styles and trying different styles.
Definitely, because as you said, you could come in with one specific thing in your head and it's a 50-50 shot as to when you actually then put that on as to whether you're going to love it as much as you thought you might. So, you know, I say, like, don't expect too much, just expect to have a good time. And that way then the magic will follow, you know.
It's the best time.
Yeah, and girls always ask, like, how will I know it's the one? And I know this sounds totally cheesy, but you will know. You'll just kind of know in your gut. When you feel amazing, when you put it on, you'll be like, okay, this is it. This is the dress. Goosebumps, yeah. It won't even be zipped up and you'll know.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
Confidence comes to you and into your gut and that's how you know.
100%. Yeah, you'll get that feeling for sure.
Definitely.
So how long does it take to order in your dress, say to size, when you do decide on that dress? And I suppose people are kind of thinking, is there any delays with COVID? I'm sure you've had experience, or how's it been going?
Well, your dress can take 6 to 10 months to arrive in store from you. But our designers now, we work with amazing world-renowned designers, and they are very, very good, and they're already working with us. And they're saying to us, like, we're going to build up a stock of the most popular dresses that may be ordered. So when a bride comes in and she has a shorter length of time, it can be like that is already in production. It has been produced. We can get it into you quicker than the norm because, as I said, the designers, we work with Pronovius, we work with Pronovius Atelier, we work with Martina Liana, Stella York, Justin Alexander, and we have a very exciting very exciting news in the pipeline. We have our own private collection coming to store. Yes, and it is very exciting. And we have to wait to get photographers in to get photographs of this private collection. There's about 12 dresses in it, and so to get the photographs taken and get it up on the site, so we have to launch it. Yes.
Oh my God, that's amazing! Congratulations!
Thank you.
Yes, I know. And so, like, so when you order your dress, as I said, designers are working with us, so it can come, and then there's always a rush cut fee. There's a fee attached to it, small fee, it's not huge, but that could bring it forward by another maybe 8 weeks again.
Okay, great. I think that's good to know. Brilliant.
But we're saying to brides at the minute, don't worry, don't panic. Let us do that for you. You come in, you just enjoy the experience, be happy, and because it's something you will carry with you forever. Your wedding dress experience.
Yeah. Oh my God, 100%. It's so fab. Okay, so I suppose this is a big one now, storing the dress for anyone that's postponed, or kind of any tips on that, or is there a way to properly store your dresses?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, when you come into us and we have to we send you home your dress, we give it to you in one of our Lovelli bridal dress bags. Now, 100% dust proof, it's breathable, so you just bring it home, you put it in a wardrobe where you can hang it. It's safer hanging. Our designers have advised us it's safer hanging than rather being folded or lying flat, and it's safe in the bag then that we give it to you.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, and then we kind of touched on that quickly, but how quickly you can get your dress on a rush order, but you can pay a little bit extra to get it. I think 8 weeks forward, is that right?
Yeah, roughly about 8 weeks. It does depend on the dress and it depends on the designer, but roughly 8 weeks is a good kind of timeline to have in your head. And it does cost that little bit more, but listen, that can just make all the difference to your seamstress and to you, and it can alleviate loads and loads of stress. So it's definitely something to keep in your mind. A rush cut is brilliant. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And it's good that you have that option in your head if you are feeling a little bit anxious. I know it's hard as well now with restrictions to get to different places, but someone then asked, getting married July 23, when should I start looking for a dress?
Yeah, again, this is one of the really popular questions. So this is, we tend to say that this is more bride dependent. So this is totally up to you. The ideal timeline is about a year before, about 12 months before, to allow your dress to come into store and then to give your seamstress that 8 to 10 weeks to work on the dress. And especially like sleeves are a huge trend right now. And we're seeing loads of brides wanting to add like a cap sleeve or like a full lace sleeve or a beaded sleeve onto their dresses. And that means then you order a little bit of extra fabric, but the seamstress then also needs more time to be able to do that. So, there's like, the more time you can give yourself, the better. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you should start shopping when you are ready to find the dream dress and say yes to it. And if that is 10 months before the wedding date, perfect. Or if it's 2 years, go whenever you feel you want to go.
Yeah, because I know when I got engaged, I was thinking, God, is a year too early? But it's never too early, I don't think.
No, it's never, especially in these times, it's never too early. Yeah. Be organized and just take that stress away from yourself. Yeah.
And so you spoke briefly there about trends kind of for 2021. So it's the sleeves we're seeing.
sleeves are huge right now. They're just everywhere in every designer collection that we're looking at. And lots of different types of sleeves have come out now. Before it probably would have been just like a lace sleeve, but we're seeing more, especially in Pronovius, a lot of kind of beaded sleeves or sheer sleeves. I'm trying to look around the shop here. A lot of kind of floral boho lace sleeves, and a lot of Mikado, like a heavier sleeve, like a heavier fabric, which we wouldn't have really seen before. So yeah, sleeves are definitely really big.
And would that include like the cape veil kind of thing as well? Is that, or is that kind of different?
No. Capes are really cool as well, yeah. And you can just do it really simply where you just attach to the back of the dress, and you can just have little popper buttons where it can be taken off. Or again, as you said, you can do the cape veil, or you can do your proper dramatic, you know, cape with the buttons and the big long train. There's just so much you can do with capes. It's brilliant.
Someone said they got their dress the day after me in Love Ellie. And someone else was like, congrats Laura and Ellen, can't wait to see the big collection. It's so fun.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you so much.
So fun. A big one then, and I love this question, how many people should you bring dress shopping? And now I know that's personal, but like from your experience, kind of what you've seen down through the years.
This is a really good one. So before COVID, pre-COVID, we didn't kind of have any kind of limit. We were always saying, you know, the more the merrier, bring whoever you like. But now with COVID times, you know, most bridal boutiques can only let in maybe one guest along with the bride, or max two. I know that can be a little bit tricky, say if a bride has, say, 5 sisters. Mum, and they all want to see the dress. So it has been a little bit trickier, but I was actually speaking to a bride yesterday, and she said she's going to be logging in, so hi. And she was saying she's actually delighted that only her mum and her best friend saw the dress, because now she's going ahead with a far smaller wedding, and she's delighted that not everybody has seen the dress, that there's some little bit of excitement still there, you know, and the entire wedding basically hasn't seen the dress. So I think that's really important, because I don't think the numbers are going to come back up to those, you know, 200 and 300 guest weddings. So I think keep it really small. Bring that person, that 1-2 people max that you trust the most, you know, to the appointment, and then keep it as a surprise. People love the surprise.
Because I know my friend Chevelle did that. She kind of kept that as a surprise. So we hadn't seen it, but she did that with her mum and her sisters. Her sisters weren't bridesmaids, but we were. So it was all a surprise, and it was fab, the more than all, because we didn't know what dress she had gone with at all. So that was lovely.
And, you know, the photographers can get really, really good shots. Of that. Do you know where one of the bridesmaids have seen the dress, and he can just be, or she can just be ready, you know, to get the shots and their reactions when they see the dress, and that's a lovely moment.
Oh yeah, she got some sad pictures. Louise just said less opinions are better. Now I have to say, I went to a shop and I brought 3 of the girls, and it was fab, and it's a lovely thing to do. But the time I went with just my mum, it was like a little bit easier, because there's just, and people mean well, but you have a lot of opinions, and you know, the more people they are, it's like, oh, I don't know, I can't make a decision. But I have to say, bringing that one person, my mum, it was very special, but it was actually really lovely as well. And the girls actually haven't seen it in person, so I think when they actually see it in person as well, it'll be nice, you know.
That's so going to be fantastic, Sinead. And actually, that's a really good point as well for anybody who is feeling overwhelmed or a little bit nervous. Having like 6 to 7 people, you know, looking at you, lots of different opinions, sometimes that, you know, can make you more nervous. So as you said, Sinead, just having that one person, and it can be a really special moment then.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, brilliant. I think that's our questions, but if you guys want to add anything else in, or any little tips or anything else you want to say, I'm putting you on the spot now, but do let us know before we go.
Yeah, any little tips? I think, kind of do your research. I suppose everybody's at home now trying to plan, you know, from the kitchen table or from their couch, and you don't have to go overkill with the research, you know, but just kind of, you know, if you're looking at bridal boutiques or wondering where to book an appointment, you know, do your research and kind of be familiar with the styles that are in store, so that you're not walking in going, oh my gosh, okay, maybe none of this is my style, you know, maybe this is not the boutique for me. So I think that's a really good tip to have. And then just relax and enjoy the journey, I think.
For sure. Someone was just saying about having second thoughts, but I would say just link back in with that question's come in twice, so I'd say just link back in with your own store for that.
Definitely. All the boutiques will be able to give you advice on that, and kind of
for sure
what to do, or maybe it's just a case that you need to just have another quick look or try on the dress again, and sometimes that can solve any queries or work. Yeah.
Girlies, thank you so much. It was absolutely lovely to see.
Oh, thanks,
Thank
Sinead. It
you
was lovely to
so
see you
much.
too. And we're in
Yes.
the boutique for the occasion.
Yay!
It was so nice to have dressed up and to come into the boutique and
And you
get back
look
into that
fab.
really fun bridal
Thank you
space.
so much.
Oh, you look so fab, and thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking the time out to jump on. I can't wait to see you in person.
Oh,
Thank you.
absolutely. Very soon, hopefully.
And I want to share our exciting news. A few weeks ago, we got awarded by the Irish Enterprise Board and the EU Business Awards. We got the best high-end
Bridal retailer.
retailer in
Oh,
Ireland.
2021. Woo!
wow, so good and well deserved, and rightly so.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very, very
much.
much. Thank
If
you.
you're bride to be, you need to pop down to these two ladies. They're fab. Honestly, you won't be disappointed. You'll have great crack if anything.
We do like a bit of fun. We do like a bit of fun.
Exactly, girls. Thanks so much. That was absolutely fab. Loved it.
Thanks,
Okay,
Sinead. Bye, girls.
bye. Okay, we have Michelle lined up there. Michelle, will you give me 2 seconds? I need to run out and get the door, and I'll be right back on with you. Laura and Ellie, thank you so much. Okay, Michelle, I just abandoned you. Hello.
Hi.
How are you? Oh, you look gorgeous. Your makeup is fab. Sure, why wouldn't
Well, my makeup is literally like thrown onto my face. I still have my pajamas on. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. I still have my pajamas on my bottom half.
if you saw what I have underneath here, I think it's like a pair of slippers as well. No one even cares anymore. How are you doing?
Good, grand, great.
Yeah.
Marcus brought Poppy off out of the house, so there's absolute silence in the house, which is a rarity. So it's nice.
Good. It's nice and quiet.
Yeah.
Michelle, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you're doing makeup and the fee brows as well.
Yeah, so I'm a makeup artist probably well over 10 years now. And in the last couple of years, I've actually gotten more into brows and stuff. I think I worked on counter for so long. I worked for MAC and Ingloss, so many different brands. And then eventually, well, I actually met Mark. So I'm from Dublin, met Mark, and then moved to Tipperary. So that's what brought me back to Ingloss. I worked in Ingloss for a year in Limerick. And then I kind of just, not that I had enough of, like, I just had enough of retail, I suppose. And I just wanted to go out on my own. But I knew, like, for me, makeup artistry, I would rather a job that's like Monday to Friday with a little bit of the weekend, whereas doing makeup is mainly just weekend. So that's when I think my friend Michelle Montgomery is on here.
Yeah, I think it's
right. Is she on? Yeah.
She's fab,
So, yeah, she's amazing. So Michelle,
Michelle got her direct in Love Ellie, I think.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
That's fab.
That's how I found her. I was like, this girl's fab. I'm just gonna follow her. It's such a creep.
I know, no, she's gorgeous. So I worked with Michelle Montgomery. My first makeup job in England and Dundrum, like 10 years ago, I think it was. I worked with Michelle. But I actually got my brows done, semi-permanent brows done with Michelle. And we were just chatting as she was doing them, and she was the one who actually kind of encouraged me to do a brow course, because it's a Monday to Friday job, and then, like I said, you can do the weekend. So that's when my fee brow course took off. Like, so I done the fee brow course with Kim O'Sullivan from the Dublin Makeup Academy. And I haven't looked back since. So I've been doing fee brows for about 3 years now, and I actually don't do makeup anymore. I don't do bridal makeup. I just do the brows. No, not really. Like the odd time, if like someone I knew or a close friend of mine, I would do their makeup. But yeah, I'm just full time with the brows, and it works better with me with Poppy and stuff. It's just doing wedding makeup and stuff. Like Charlene has 2 kids. Like I honestly don't know how she was doing it for so long.
Yeah.
It's time consuming. Like, you're up early, you're gone all day, and so yeah, the brows are going great, and they're huge for bridal, like absolutely huge. Most of my clients come to me like, I'm getting married in a year or in whatever amount of time. I really want to have my brows done for the wedding. So a lot of my clients are brides to be, and it's fab. Like it's a great it's a great job to be in. I absolutely love it as well. Love it.
Brilliant. I'm just laughing because I walked out the door there and someone said the tag was on the back of your top. Can you see that?
No, I didn't even know.
I got this top last weekend. You probably can't even see. I got this top last weekend, going off subject now, on ASOS, and I threw it on me this morning. I was like, this be grand for today, but the tag.
It doesn't matter, Sinead.
Oh my God, hilarious. So Michelle, we'll get into it. And obviously we want positive vibes and stuff like that, but you had a crappy enough year, let's be honest, last year. You unfortunately had to postpone. So how was that, or like, what was your head at, or where was your head at, or what was...
So we planned, we were supposed to be getting married November. At this stage, there's so many dates, I'm confused. We were supposed to get married November 7th, 2020. That was our date. And we had booked it a year in advance with Ballymcgarvey, and everything was sorted. And then obviously everything started unraveling and COVID and blah, blah, blah. So what turned into, like, it sounds like terrible, but what should have been probably one of the best years of our lives, literally just everything, like, it sounds like ridiculous when you say it out loud, but like my 30th, we were having like a big party for that. Like I won an award, the Image Style Award, or the Image Beauty Awards.
Yeah.
And that was like, I bought my dress and I was so excited. That was like a highlight of my career. And then obviously the most important thing of the year was the wedding. And then that just, you know, we held out as long as we could, and everyone was saying, no, your wedding will be the party at the end of all this. And sure, we're still here now. So we postponed. Ballymcgarvey, our venue, were amazing. All my vendors were so good as well. We never had an issue. So they basically let me put a second date in the diary for March. And we couldn't sit right with March. Like, I'm literally like polo necks, like everything covered up. And that March for me is a little bit too summery. Yeah. We just had winter in our mind. Okay. So we just said, we'll push it out. So we pushed it out until November 21. So this year. And we've actually decided to push it again. Oh. So I haven't, this is like, I haven't told anyone, like only my bridesmaids and my family know. We just, like, I'm the kind of person that I think we spent, I should say we spent all of last year, like literally going, oh, please God for November. And I cannot spend this year saying the same sentence. Oh. So, and that's our choice, you know, like a couple of my friends are getting married like this summer and stuff. And like my best friend, my bridesmaid, my maid of honor, she's getting married in Spain in August. So, you know, everyone is just doing their own thing, and it's I think it's what makes you feel okay. And I was very okay. I was okay with November and the vaccines and all that. And then when Leo came out the other day, I was just like, I just can't do it. It's too close.
I know.
So we pushed it out only a couple of months. It's only, we're doing February in 2022. So it's only a few months on from November, but that's going to be our last date. We're not moving it again. That's it.
I know. And you know what? I think, like, I remember last March and someone was asking me, how do you feel about July next year? And I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, and even I do remember watching your stories, and I was like, she'll be fine for November. Like, I really thought this thing was just going to disappear or something.
I know. Yeah. I think like we probably, like, and everyone, like anyone, all my bridesmaids are like, well, Michelle, what if you're okay? What if November comes and you're okay? But I just want to enjoy the process. Like every other bride gets to enjoy before COVID. I just want to enjoy the process. Like, even though everything's done, everything's booked and planned, I just want to enjoy the process. So that's why for me and for my head, like Mark is just like, I was like, what about this date? Yeah, that's the finest. I was like, do you want to care a little bit more? He's like, that's grand, Shell, whatever you want to do.
They're so different. Like, oh my God, poor Amos sleep after nights now, but like, they're just, I wish I was that laid back person, but I am not.
And it's normally the opposite. Like, I'm quite a laid back person. Like, I'm literally fall over, and Mark would be the one that's a little bit more hyper about things. But I think it's because, like, I don't mean this in a mean way, but you know, we kind of plan it. Like, they kind of just like, oh yeah, that's lovely. You know, like we plan it, and like, so he was like, yeah, sure, let's move to February. And I was like, I have to ring all my vendors and make sure this is okay. So it's not as easy as just switching.
And how did you find that process, Michelle, like with suppliers and stuff and the moving and stuff? Was it stressful, or was it fairly okay once you got that phone call done? Like,
be honest, like, to be honest, again, this probably comes from me being so laid back, but I literally was just like shooting them all Instagram messages.
Yeah.
I was literally like hands like this, like the praying emoji.
Great.
Please tell me you're free Valentine's Day next year. And they're literally like, yeah, we're free.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like now we're excited again. It went from
Yeah.
stress last week to being excited again. So look, and my mom is just like literally sat me down. Like she was like, Michelle, we need to have a phone call this evening. Me and your dad are going to come on. We're going to have a chat. And I was like, what is this? So my mom was like, you need to just settle with your date now, Michelle, and not keep moving it. So yeah, we're set with February now. So we're not going to go any more than that. And no, the vendors are amazing. Like I just think that would be this will be our fourth date.
Yeah.
And
It'll
they've
be
all
some
just been
hoolie.
like, what?
It'll be some hoolie.
I know. They've all just been like, yeah, that's fine, you know, no worries. And
yeah,
we're very lucky like that. You know, we got to keep all our vendors. We didn't have to change anyone because they didn't have the date available. So we're lucky.
Brilliant. Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm praying for you, and hopefully it will be rightly so.
We'll get our day, Sinead. We'll get them.
Get our day. Oh my God. So are you going to do your own makeup for your wedding?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. So like this is me, like I'm not going to be going much more than this, like probably something to wash across my eyes and the lashes, but I have my lipstick and all picked, but I just don't want it on the day, like, because I am the most emotional person, like Sinead. I can't even like describe it. My friends literally hell, they send me things on purpose. They're like, this is gonna make you bawl, so I don't even watch them, like. But I'm so emotional that I'd be afraid that I would get too overwhelmed and that I wouldn't be able to do it. So, and I know from doing bridal for so many years that when, honest to God, like when you're the makeup artist, like you're obviously doing the makeup, but you're observing the whole morning and how it's like, you know, and when the bride sits in your chair, they literally just like, and I'm sure any makeup artist, Michelle and all would agree with me on here, and Charlene that was on, they close their eyes and this calmness just comes over them. And it's that little bit of time that they get to just totally switch off. Like, and honest to God, like they put their champagne over there and I'm like, do you want some Prosecco? Like, you just like, it's just a moment where they can just chill out. And I just want to have that moment. Like my friend Ruth Bergen, she's an amazing makeup artist. She's doing my makeup.
Oh yeah, she's brilliant. Yeah.
And I just want that time just to close my eyes and forget about everything and just de-stress a little bit.
Yeah, that's really good, because I was kind of thinking, God, I might do mine, but I think a few people had said as well, no, just chill. But
I think if you're the kind of person that can just be like, no, leave me alone, I'm doing my makeup, that's great. Like I would love to be like that, but I'm not. So I'm not going to put myself under that pressure. I'm just going to leave it to Ruth. Put her under that pressure.
Yeah. Oh no, it should be fab. Your makeup will be fab. Okay, let me see. So I know we kind of chatted about this earlier, but your advice, say, for brides doing their own makeup, is there anything from working in that you have?
I would just say, like, I say this to my brides, my used to be brides, before, like, I think Charlene said something similar. I was here eating cheese on toast, but I think Charlene said something similar, like, don't go totally adventurous. Like, if you're somebody that's not good at doing like liquid liner, or not that you're not good, but if you're not confident in it, just go for a kohl pencil and get a smudgy brush and smudge. You're still going to get that same gorgeous defined look. Now it mightn't be as sharp looking, but you're still going to get that lovely defined look to your eye, and it's actually going to be, personally for me, a little bit softer. In photography and things like that, I do love a flick, but unless you're somebody that's really used to doing it, I wouldn't go being adventurous or stressing yourself out. Like, even if you practice for a year, on the day of your wedding, unless you're a professional or very good at a wedding, like that could ruin your morning. Do you know what I mean?
So
Not getting it. So I would just say to not become adventurous the night before your wedding. I always say this to my brides. They all get a text message the night before the wedding. You better be drinking double the amount of water than you are drinking champagne. And please God, do not put any magical €200 face masks on your face tonight, because you don't know what's going to happen. So I would just stick to what you know. And like Charlene said there, get your color matching done when you have your tan on that you're going to be wearing for your wedding. Choose products that you know yourself that are gorgeous on your skin. And what I would also say as well is, when you have these products chosen, if you do want to pick new products, stand at your window. Don't, if you have a ring light like most makeup artists do, but stand at your window when you do your makeup, take photographs and see how your makeup looks when you do, because more than likely you've probably just done it normally like you would always do, when realistically you kind of do need to add a little bit more with bridal makeup, like a little bit more blush, a little bit more highlighter, just so the photographs can pick it up. But I think it's an amazing idea to do your own makeup, but just prepare yourself for it and don't be too over adventurous. Like keep it simple, because that is what does look beautiful, in my opinion, on a bride.
Less is more, absolutely.
Yeah.
Michelle Montgomery said, I'm only after figuring out to chat long. Love you, Michelle. Hi, girls. Michelle.
Michelle is an amazing bridal makeup artist. If there is any,
my friend Sarah has her doing her makeup as well.
Yeah, if there's any obviously if there's any brides to be on here, all brides to be on here. Michelle is amazing. She's an amazing bridal makeup artist. Phenomenal. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so your choice of tan for your wedding. Do you know what one you're gonna go with?
So this is really hard for me, okay, because like I'm not like, I don't like being too dark.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a spray tan done in years, Sinead.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to get a spray for the wedding or just do my own tan.
Yeah, I know. I love doing my own tan, to be honest. So I think I'll just do what I'm used to. I'm probably gonna do either Drip and Gold lotion or I actually tried in the last few weeks. The Perfect Tan is beautiful. It always their mousse is amazing. But they done like a collab with Jack Jossa. She's from EastEnders, you know, that actress. And I tried the tan and it's amazing. Now bear in mind it's quite dark. So like a very light layer and you'll get a lovely deep tan. But I was really, really impressed with it and it came off beautifully. I'm on my hands, you know, the opera paste came off really nice. So I'm not really sure. I probably will end up going with my Drip and Gold because I'm just so used to using it. But by the time the wedding comes around, you have a bit of time to think about that story.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And then like tips for anyone thinking of spooning. I suppose if you're thinking of it and it's bothering you, just do it. Like I guess.
Yeah, like I'm quite decisive. Like we just sat in the couch like last week and I was just like, okay, I'm feeling like this. So I sent an email to Ballymcgarvey just to see what dates they had in 2022. And they literally messaged us back a few days and I was like to Mark, I just like this date. So we actually went with Valentine's Day 2022. Yeah. So I was like, I feel like for me, like that's like, it's kind of corny, but I kind of like that it's all about love as well.
Yeah. And it's still winter as well.
Yeah. So that's why we just kind of went with it. But like, I do understand there is a lot to weigh up. Like I was saying about the vendors, like the first time we changed the date from our first date to the new date, that was so stressful because I was up the walls, like so upset because it just got very real then, whereas now I kind of feel like I'm used to it. I'm just like, we'll just push it out another bit. But like I think
you can't laugh at these things, Jesus.
No, I know 100%. Like I think just let yourself don't rush into it. I would say we probably did with the March date. It wasn't a date that we wanted. We just had to go with it. I would say take your time and we discuss it with our family. Like we kind of, you know, because it's very, it's just the two of you, especially now, you're not seeing people. Like it was just the two of us in our little bubble here and we were just like, we just need another opinion. So like that, we just asked for our parents' opinions. And to be honest, my mom and dad, when we said it to my mom and dad, they were just kind of like very kind of easing into it, like, and didn't want to say much. And then we said, look, we kind of decided. They were like, oh, thank God. You know, because they didn't want to be stressing us, saying like you should really look at these other dates. But then they both were like really relieved when we kind of said that we were pushing it out. So I'd say just chat to your family, and you know, and I know people keep saying to me it's only a party, but it is for me. Like it's huge. Like I know some brides are just like like I'm happy to do it with 10 or I'm happy to do it with 5. For me and Mark, we don't really party. Like we have Poppy, we don't go out. Like I can't remember the last time we had a date night. I think the last time we had a date night was when we went Christmas shopping. You know, like, and that was like Eddie Rockets, and you know, so for us, we're just kind of like, and it's probably not the done thing to say because everyone's like, it's about the love and it's about this, and I'm like, it's also about the party, like, let's be honest.
It is like having all your people there.
Yeah, so for us, like we just want to give it one last stab in February. Like, if we can only have 50, whatever, but if we can have 100 within a couple of months, better again. So we're just we're just kind of doing what we want to do. We listen to advice, but we kind of at the end of the day just do what was good for us.
Yeah, and everyone's circumstances are individual, so absolutely, like,
absolutely, I totally get that. Like, and I get like people are wanting to start families and things like that, and that's why, like, I'm like, Margaret, we can't keep pushing it out. Like, this is just,
I know
he's going to be 12 by the time she's a sibling.
I did a podcast 2 weeks ago, and Sarah Kennedy, I think she's on here, but she was like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I'm probably still trying to get married in Nurka.
Yeah, I know, it's mad, like.
But anyway, sure, look, bit of crack. Tips for fee brows if you're thinking of getting them done before the wedding, like, what's the kind of time span there?
Okay, so this is like a question that I get. Most of my messages are hey, well, no, not recently, but last year or whatever, hey, I'm getting married in like 6 months and I really want to book in for fee brows. For me, my waiting list is like 3 to 4 months for fee brows. Probably most artists are the same, but with microblading, it depends on your skin. So everyone's skin is different, okay? Some people, it's a 2 treatment process, okay? So you come for your first treatment, then you come back 6 weeks later and you get your top up. And then you're good to go for, like, I tell my clients to come back yearly for their top up. But it's a 2-part treatment, but that's all going good. So obviously, like, people that came to me for their first treatment, then COVID hit, they couldn't come back to me 6 weeks later. So by the time they came back for their second treatment, their brows were nearly gone. They were nearly like faded. So they have had to have a 3rd treatment. But not just COVID. Like, I have people coming to me before COVID and they do need the 3rd treatment. Everyone's skin is different. So if you do want to get something like V-brows done or microblading done, don't contact the person 5 months before, because it's a process. You have to wait 6 weeks in between each treatment for the skin to heal. And like what I just said there, you might be someone who has to have a 3rd treatment done because the pigment didn't take to your skin. So my advice would be get it done minimum a year in advance. And then if you need to, but just before your wedding, like maybe 2-3 months before your wedding, if you want to go and get a color boost done, that literally is just a really quick appointment where you just fly over the brows and it just gives them a little boost. That's what I recommend people to do, as opposed to, I'm getting married here, when will my brows be ready? They might be ready 2 weeks beforehand. And it's not really ideal because the skin and that dries out and it takes time to heal. So you're not going to want to have shedding eyebrows coming up to your wedding. Like, that's a stress in itself. Get it done a year in advance, and then if you want to, maybe 2 months before, get a little color boost.
Fab, brilliant. And then we might finish on this one. So the thing that you're most excited for your wedding.
Oh God.
What's the thing that has you most excited and gives you all feels?
Probably it's one of the things I would never have said, because I was not looking forward to going dress shopping like at all. I'm just not into dresses at all. So I was dreading that. And I'm getting my dress made. So I absolutely am obsessed with my dress, but I'm equally as obsessed with Poppy's dress. So I just can't wait to kind of see everything come together and Mark with Poppy, and I just can't wait for the whole, like, the day, obviously my friends and family, because by the time we get there we'll all be wanting a celebration, but I think I can't wait to stand back and just look around that it's finally here and I can actually see everything that has been in my head. So yeah, I'm so excited for that.
Absolutely, I have such goosebumps when you're chatting. Michelle, thank you so much. You're so honest and it's so refreshing, and you're just fab and always have been so lovely whenever I've met you. So thanks for taking the time out. I know it's busy
for having me on. I was so excited.
No, it's so nice. So thank you, and I'll be hanging on for dear life for all the updates, and we'll be chatting today.
Vice versa, we'll be on chatting on Insta. Thanks a million.
Not at all. Mind yourself. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Hello, Sylvia.
Hey, Sinead, what's the
crack? How are you?
It's been great listening to all the girls chatting.
Wasn't it just fab?
Some hope for the future. Something happy to think about.
Oh, it was such a nice morning, and thank you for taking the time out as well, because I know you're super busy as well. So Sylvia Abraham, our last speaker of the day, an amazing florist from what I've seen. Oh my God, and actually it's Peter Carville who said, she's amazing, you need to get Sylvia on to have the chats. So how are you? How have you been keeping?
I'm grand. Now it's been a bit mad like everyone else. Like I did 2 weddings last year, like one in August and one on New Year's Eve. And this year is probably more the same because I work with a lot of Irish couples and a lot of American couples that come to Ireland. But I'm hanging on in there and just keeping the hope and still creating florals and kind of doing little offerings kind of around Valentine's and stuff that I probably wouldn't normally do, but just to keep my hands busy and surrounded with flowers is kind of keeping me sane at the moment.
Yeah, because it's a hard time as well. Like you're just kind of, you want to be back to your busyness and normal.
Yeah, you want to be back to creating gorgeousness for weddings and events.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, there are people still booking. They're maybe booking for next year, and so I'm keeping the faith.
Yeah. And how long, Sylvia, have you been doing? Is it designer florist? Is that how you would describe it?
I'd say I'm a floral designer because I'm a studio-based florist. I have my own studio, so it's typically weddings and events. This year's been a bit different because I've done offerings for Valentine's, but I suppose I'm not like a typical florist that would do Valentine's, Mother's Day funerals. It's totally tailor-made for weddings and events. So the type of flowers I'd use would be the type of flowers that you mightn't see typically in a florist shop, you know, like chrysanthemums and things like that. They're quite curious and different.
Okay. And how long have you been doing it, Sylvia? How long have you been doing it?
I'm in business since 2014, so it's my 7th year. I used to be a social care worker in St. Michael's House for 18 years before I switched careers. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So I did it on a whim. I worked in a community house with adults with disabilities, so we used to do a lot of weekends and worked Christmas and New Year, and I had 3 young kids, and I was thinking, even though I loved it, I was thinking I need to kind of get a job that will kind of fit around the kids more. But little did I know that floristry is mental, and you're up, we're working weekends and you're up all night, and but I love it. And I've started off in 2014, and it's kind of grown from there. I now teach other floral designers how to kind of do large scale installations, and yeah, I love it. I'm really passionate about it.
That's the main part, isn't it? So I suppose, you know, when you do get engaged, and you're looking at picking the flowers and stuff, and they are such a massive part, like they're just so beautiful. I think they just make everything come together, especially with the bridesmaids when they have their dress on. The minute you put those bouquets there, is it like when you start out, should you work around your time of the year before picking your flowers? Is that the best way? I'm useless with
it. It depends on how flower crazy you are. So I have girls that come to me and they really want peonies to be in their aesthetic, and choose their wedding date around peonies, because you can only get peonies from April to July. And then there's people that have the flower in their head but haven't thought maybe of when they're in season. And disappointed them when they booked the wedding maybe in October and peonies are no longer in season. But like, we can always work around. What I do is go with the aesthetic of things. So when I have a consultation with a couple, when they contact me, it's usually in the studio, or now it's over Zoom. And I try and get a feel for what they want their day to look like, what they want to experience when they walk into their ceremony or their venue, and what they want their guests to experience. And then they might send me different images, and I might just take little parts, like a color palette, or they want it on structures, and I just basically combine their own unique florals for them. So it's not like into flora where someone comes in and gets 12 dome red roses and then the next bride gets the exact same. It's quite tailor-made. And so that involves a lot of trust. So you have to really trust your floral designer, because they're creative, and when there's trust involved, then you get the best. That's when the magic happens, you know.
Okay, perfect. And say, should you, like, how far in advance should you book your florist? And I know obviously things are difficult now, but is there a time frame that you should kind of get in there when you have booked your wedding?
Usually couples book about a year out. But I have had weddings with everything changed around, where they might have missed out on previous vendors, where I've done it up to 4 weeks before. So around 4 weeks, 3 weeks at a push, if someone decided last minute, listen, I just want to get married. Then we can work around it, because then I have to build the proposal and the mood boards and then put in a pre-order and that sort of stuff. Usually a year. ahead.
Okay, brilliant. And should you wait till you get your bridesmaids dresses as well to decide on what you're thinking, or can you look at ideas of what you might want, you know, arrangements wise as well?
Usually when couples come to me, they've already chosen their bridesmaids dresses. And then I will suggest different color palettes that will complement the dresses. And sometimes they're color palettes that the couples may not have thought of before. They might just think, oh, that blush will go perfect with that, because blush is usually a traditional kind of wedding color.
Yeah.
But nowadays, the color palettes, there's lots of different choices, and you might have bouquets of little pops of blue and different elements. So yeah, they usually come with their dress beforehand, and then I can offer advice on what suits that dress color the best.
Okay, perfect.
And
okay,
the venue is important too.
Yeah, is that? Yeah.
Because they might come to me with a color palette, and then I'll go on a site visit, and the carpet in the venue is like crazy red with purple florals, and then that affects what you put on your table.
Yeah, I would never have thought of that.
There's different elements like the ceremony and where you have your reception afterwards. It's important to kind of get a whole picture.
And do you do site visits as a given beforehand, Sylvia?
Yeah, I always do a site visit.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to walk through the space. So typically when I'm taken on board, I'm usually doing the florals for the ceremony and the reception. I get really involved. I'm not just the type of person that drops the flowers and run. I'm usually the person that's at the back of the ceremony, fixing the dress and pinning on all the buttonholes for the, and then setting up the ceremony space and stuff. So yeah, I love to do a site visit, because then it can help put like couples' minds at ease, and you can talk them through designs and where you think they're going to look the best.
Oh, that's fab. Any standout 2021 kind of floral arrangements that is standout for this year? Or is there themes or stuff like that?
I think the dried flower, like the pampas grass, is still hanging on in there. It was a big thing in 2019. And then obviously with COVID, it's like it's been frozen and there's still elements of it. But I think what's going to be big is installations. So if your budget doesn't lend to having flowers on every single table, I think there may be like a beautiful kind of installation, whether it's in front of your head table on the ground up, or something behind the head table, something that's going to be impactful, so that it's going to be in your images, or maybe a deconstructed arch that can be moved from your ceremony then into your reception space. So it's kind of designs that are going to be impactful and noticed in your images, I think is really important, because you want to get the most out of your budget.
Yeah. And then that brings me on to actually someone on a budget, or any tips, I suppose, when it comes to flower arrangements, or is there anything that you can, any tips that you could give in that way if someone was?
I would suggest think about what part of that day is the most important to you, like floral wise. Is it your ceremony space? Is it your reception space? And if you're on a super tight budget, you can reuse the pieces from your ceremony space. And also try to avoid putting, like, I suppose, trying to put flowers everywhere, like tiny flowers everywhere in little bottles, because there will be no impact. So if you're going to just do one thing, forget about putting flowers on your guest tables, and maybe just have gorgeous candlelight, which is cheap and cheerful, and you can do that even yourself from IKEA and stuff. But then focus on something around your head table, because that's going to be in all your shots. That's where the focus is. So yeah, just choose something that's impactful for your ceremony or for your reception, and then just lots of candlelight.
Yeah, because I know someone was asking, is there any other ideas other than, you know, sometimes we see at the end of the pews the floral arrangements there, or around the candles, but is there any other things that you've seen in the churches or venues that is quite stand out as well, or nice?
I love the actual, you know, the glass cylinders of different heights with just the pillar candles in it, and it's so simple but it's so beautiful. But then it depends on your church and also your venue, because some churches have super strict rules about what can be along the aisle, even floral wise. But that is a gorgeous alternative to, like, you know, if you're on a tight budget as well.
Yeah, someone just said some priests can dictate the floral arrangements, which I didn't really know about, so that's good to know.
Yeah, I've had one couple who sent me the list from their church, and it was like no floral arches, no standalone arches aside, nothing's stuck on, and flowers on the altar have to be left. Loads of like those little bits of things. So it is really important to get the rules of the church, because they too tend to dictate. Venues, on the other hand, seem to be more easygoing, and once you're not destroying walls by sticking on things, you're totally good to go.
Okay, God, there's so much to it, isn't there? Really, like, it's amazing. Someone is thinking of doing like a crown or a headpiece. And then they're wondering, is the best option like dried artificial flowers or fresh flowers for that kind of head? I presume it's like a boho kind of.
Yeah. I am pretty biased. I love fresh flowers. I'm not really drawn to faux flowers at all. I love the scent. I love the whole thing about them. So I would say fresh.
Okay.
And your floral designer will know the tricks, the trade to keep that super fresh and how it will last through the day for you. If made correctly, I would say fresh, not faux.
Okay.
You need to obviously be mindful as well. Do you want like a really big, elaborate like crown, or do you want tiny detail? Like, you need to be, I suppose, clear with your floral designer the look that you're looking for, because I've seen some where, you know, with other designers, and the person maybe wanted something delicate, and then they have these big, massive, chunky roses that they weren't really looking for in the beginning. So it is important to have those little chats with your floral designer and talk to them about what you like. And it's really important to tell them what you don't like, because we get so much information from that as well. It's really important trying to build a picture of what it's going to look like on the day.
And are you doing the virtual kind of consultations now, or is that what it's switched to?
I have been doing them before COVID with American couples to Ireland. So quite often I would only ever meet them on Zoom, and then I would meet them on their wedding day when I came to deliver the flowers. So I find it really helps with couples. So usually I would send on my welcome letter to couples. So if anyone is on here and they want to find out what my guide prices are, how we work, I send them a welcome email. And in it is the guide prices and testimonials and stuff. And then they can usually judge if I'm a good fit for them or not. And then we have an online Zoom proposal. And in that, we chat about the colours they love, how they want the day to be, what they imagine it to be. And then afterwards, I do the proposal and the mood board.
And is there any rules, Sylvia? Is there anything that you would say, no, that just does not work?
I would say, don't do an artificial arch, or I'm not mad into artificial flowers. I know some people love them, but for me, I can spot them a mile off.
Okay.
And I think, like, I know people that want to mix artificial, like, you know, maybe arches or backdrops with fresh, and I just think that's a no-go, because it's really obvious where the fresh are and where the faux are. But that's just because I love fresh flowers, and the scent is super, super important, because that leaves that lasting memory, you know, for a couple afterwards.
It does actually, yeah. So where to begin? So we chatted about that. So should we get the bridesmaids dresses first? So most people do have bridesmaids dresses before they come in. Someone's asking about April flower suggestions. Is there any kind of jump out, or any kind of ones that are really good for April?
So April, you're on the cusp of a seasonal. So like your ranunculus, which I'm going to actually show you this. That's ranunculus, right? So that's there like 3 weeks. And like it usually starts off smaller, and then it just opens up this gorgeous petal. So that is from October to April. So if you're getting married in April, the ranunculus will still be available. And also peonies are starting to creep in. So that's the start of peony season. So you're in a good little part where you have these gorgeous fluffy petaled flowers. And then throughout the year, even if like you, as I said before, you're a massive peony lover, or you're crazy about anemones, we can try and mimic the feel of those flowers, even if they're not in season. So we would suggest maybe a gorgeous garden rose, or something that will emulate the style of what a peony is, and things like that. And we do our very, very best. And no matter what, even if someone is heartbroken because anemones are not in season, they're always delighted with their flowers. It's the whole vibe that you're going for, and you know, the design aesthetic, rather than just one specific flower.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's because it's a bouquet. I mean, at the end, it's not like one, and there's even the greenery that adds so much to it as well. Someone was just asking there, sorry now, was it hydrangeas? I think it was. Sorry, my screen won't let me go. Thoughts on hydrangeas in summer? Is white or off-white better?
As in a bouquet, or in an actual designs? Because they are notorious for dropping in the heat and wilting. So I'm interested to see what they're asking for.
Lorraine, you can come back to us with that.
Yeah, I'd never personally put hydrangea in a bouquet.
Okay. Okay. Any suggestions for flowers for a January wedding?
January weddings, you can still have those gorgeous ranunculus, and they come in like different colors. So they come from everything from ivory to real dark, kind of moody plum colors. You also have gorgeous lisianthus, which is all year round. You've got garden roses, and I suppose it was a kind of a trend in 2019 that I see is carried in, is that people are starting to love the look of the reflexed rose, where the floral designer will peel back the rose so it looks a little bit different. And you can even do that with more traditional roses, just to give that garden style feel, especially if you're on a budget.
Yeah.
And you want the look of a gorgeous perfumed rose, but you don't have the budget for it. So I wouldn't give up hope for people that have maybe had to change their wedding to a completely different season. I know it has freaked a couple of couples out because they had their hearts set on particular flowers or colors, but if you have a really super floral designer, they will work with
make
you.
it work.
It looks amazing.
Yeah. And the hydrangeas were for decorations in church and outside.
This is the thing, right? I don't use floral foam, and I don't use it because it's toxic and it's really bad for the environment. Now, a lot of designers would use floral foam, and therefore they would use the hydrangea in it. I wouldn't. I just, if it's outside in the heat and if it's in an arch, they drink water super, super quick.
Okay.
So there is a tendency for them to drop. So that's all. I know lots of people do it, but for me, outside in summer wedding, it would be a bit fun.
Well, that's a really good tip. I mean, people mightn't have known that, so that's really good. Okay, so before we finish up, any kind of top tips that you could give to the bride, or anything that you've learned along the way to, I don't know, tell brides, or something that they should do when it comes to floral arrangements or their design, or I suppose something that freaks up the most for you?
They should block out all the noise, right? Because Pinterest is so overwhelming with images, and sometimes the images are doctored to make a color of a flower look different, and you always see things in buttonholes that you know that's definitely for a photo shoot. It wouldn't last like a minute out of water. So what I would say is choose a floral designer that you love the aesthetic of. If you're looking to their Instagram and you love the designs, and they have a really good reputation with planners and with couples, and then basically put your trust in them. So in your consultation, tell them the aesthetic you love. Even if you don't know the color palette, tell them the feeling you want when someone walks into that space, how they want to feel when they see their flowers. And your floral designer will be able to interpret that. And the trust is a massive thing. Put your trust in them, and then
they know what they're doing.
You know what they're doing. And when you've booked your floral designer, let them worry about all the logistics and how the ceremony is going to be set up and how they're going to move things. And you just don't worry and just enjoy the lead up. Because that's the most important thing. There's been so much change in the last couple of years. I think you just need to push that worry and stress somewhere else, and just trust your vendors, and choose people that you like and that you get on with, because they're part of your day, and you want that vibe to be nice and energetic and happy. You know what I mean? You don't want to be miserable.
It's the last thing you want.
In your vibe, throwing your flowers at you.
I know. Sylvia, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully I get to meet you in person sometime. And your feed looks incredible. Your work looks incredible. I highly recommend. When I looked at the Instagram, I was like, wow. So 100% definitely go over Bella Botanica.
Thank you.
She's fab, as you can see. So thank you so much for taking the time for jumping on today.
Thanks, girls.
Not at all. And that is us, guys. I have this all recorded, so I will share it afterwards. And thanks a million to everyone who jumped on today. I had a ball, and we can just keep planning and plodding along and sending the positive vibes, but lots of love to the brides. And yeah, I will see you all soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Sinead.
Bye. Thank you.